Tonight, ride along with the fast and the furious.
These are the #1 lane southbound.
They deal in stolen cars.
They got a Mercedes? Already?
Yeah. Drugs and deadly weapons. Carjacking victims like this man at gunpoint.
Right here.
Now, these officers will risk their lives to go undercover.
Be advised that they brought a gun with them, so be careful.
With Dateline's hidden cameras rolling, they're about to enter the danger zone.
Yeah, you know, my money on my family.
Can these officers catch the crooks before the crooks catch on to the sting?
Sort of a surprise party.
A surprise party, right.
You're here accepting.
Victoria Corderi goes on a ride-along to catch a car thief.
Every 30 seconds in this country, a car is stolen. That means by the time this show is over, another 120 cars will be missing. One of them may be yours. Good evening and welcome to Dateline. I'm Stone Phillips.
And I'm Ann Curry. If your car is stolen, don't expect to get it back. Nationally, only about 60% of stolen cars are ever recovered. Catching car thieves can be difficult and dangerous, as you'll see tonight.
We're taking our hidden cameras inside an undercover police sting and on one wild ride. Here's Victoria Corderi.
It's a Tuesday night at Hottie's, a bar in southwest Houston, Texas.
What's really going on, guys?
The party's just getting started.
Oh, how you doing, man?
Plenty of booze, plenty of dancers playing to a rough crowd.
Do it again, do it again, do it again.
Work hard, play hard. Like this guy, known as Greñas. He's celebrating his success at work, and he's planning more business after hours in the bar's parking lot.
He really wants to make the money. I'll take it personally.
And how does he make his money? He's a car thief, and he recently made a new connection to a fencing operation at this warehouse, where he can sell the stolen cars for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Here he is on the job, selling a stolen truck to a fence, someone who routinely buys cars and other stolen goods.
Oh, no.
He's obviously found a gold mine here, because for months he's been going back again and again.
Let's go.
And there appears to be lots of money to go around. Greñas' comrades at the club also seem pumped up over the newfound stolen car connection. Here's Big George, also a client of that warehouse fencing operation. He has a rap sheet with drug and theft convictions.
But everything's gonna go through me, nobody else.
He's a big talker. He tells the fence he has access to a friend with some special guns.
Because he has a ceramic pistol also. You can take it to the metal detector and it won't go through, it won't beep. That's the main one I wanted you to see. I know if you see that and you like it, I know you're gonna want some.
Really?
Come to the party.
Big George is a regular at Hottie's, and this party lasts late into the night. Most of the men are associates or members of street gangs looking to make deals, and the fence says he's their man.
I'm looking to be able to deal with somebody that I can deal with on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying?
I'm here, man. You know, it ain't no problem.
He tries to convince them that his warehouse is a place where they can turn their crimes into cash.
Can you like 200 more?
How much? Hello?
The fence is receiving calls from interested thieves all over town.
Okay, so as far as you know, that 7 o'clock deal is still on?
The warehouse is a meeting place for all sorts of street hoods with stolen cars to sell.
Man, I'm ready to make money, man. I'm trying to make money.
From experienced carjackers
You got a key to that one, key to that one.
to a sweet-talking underage girl.
How much were you wanting for it? And I get real.
12. You gave me 800 for the Dodge.
And seasoned ex-cons.
I got locked up. They caught me with 5 keys and a gun and some money.
These thieves are just one reason auto theft is such big business. More than 1 million cars are stolen each year in the United States, one every 26 seconds. It forces insurance rates up and leaves a trail of real victims behind, like this couple.
We just woke up and the car was gone.
Or this man, who had a gun put to his head when a thief stole his car.
Right here.
But while these thieves spend the night celebrating and planning on future riches from stealing cars in the days to come, There's something they don't know about this big new fencing operation.
Stand by.
It's really an undercover operation of the Houston Police Department.
We are recording live right now.
And you're about to get a rare glimpse into the world of undercover cops, with its dangers and disappointments, risks and rewards.
Okay, be advised that they brought a gun with them, so be careful.
The cops will be playing a high-stakes game that pits them against thieves, criminals who at any moment might catch on to the sting.
Okay, Robert, here they come.
And from start to finish, Dateline's hidden cameras will be watching.
Audio video was up and running.
We'll take you from the streets to the fencing operation, to the hunt for the suspects, and if all goes well, to their capture.
Coming up, we're inside the warehouse when the first deal goes down. Negotiations are going to get tense, and officers know they have to be ready for anything.
Keep a close eye on them. They're not happy with the money that they got.
Police in Houston are determined to bust a ring of violent car thieves. So determined, they're willing to risk their own lives. With our hidden cameras rolling, they're about to launch a sting, and although they've laid their plans very carefully, they will soon find out this is going to be one bumpy road. Again, Victoria Corderi.
You are inside the world of undercover police. This warehouse is being converted into a major fencing operation.
One precinct girl gives me the garage door.
The Houston Police Department allowed us to install hidden cameras and watch officers buy stolen cars and other contraband.
They can get in these things in just 10, 15 seconds, get this thing rolling.
Anybody on this
Lieutenant Victor Rodriguez, who heads the operation, told us the kind of people they'd be dealing with.
They have partying to pay for and drug habits to pay for, and they do it by victimizing people like you and me.
He hopes to get stolen cars back to the owners and put a dent in Houston's auto theft rate by taking down the thieves. Here's the plan. Undercover policemen will pose as fences who buy cars and other stolen goods to ship out of the country. It's vital the operation remains secret. If any of the crooks grows suspicious, the cops could get themselves killed. There's a lot at stake, not just for the police, but for this man, an informant who's going to help lure criminals to the warehouse.
Follow me.
We've disguised the undercover cops who are running the operation. They told us about the informant.
He said he wanted to get out of the gang life, wanted to cooperate with us so that maybe he might be able to find a way out of that group.
Yeah, so to speak, to clean up his life.
Their informant has a long rap sheet, a drug habit, and a violent lifestyle. He says where and how he grew up made him what he is today.
I never did have a choice.
You didn't feel like you had a choice to not be a gangbanger?
It's just I grew up in this. There's no way out of this right now.
You still got some money coming to you?
The cops have worked out a deal to pay him cash for the information he provides.
6.
That could be his way out of criminal life, but he also knows he's playing with fire. On this night, he's not very optimistic.
You think it could cost you your life?
And it is going to cost me my life.
Using him also could be risky for the cops.
So how did you go about deciding he was someone you could trust?
We never really could figure out whether or not we would be able to trust him, but we were certainly going to check up on him and try to figure out what his intentions were.
So far, he's provided them with reliable information, so they decide to use him.
Right.
Within days, the garage is rigged and ready.
This is perfect.
The informant's job is to get the word out about the new fencing operation in town.
All you need the money I'm fine. I know, bro, outside, 150 for each 100.
On the phone,
Here's the guy in the white t-shirt.
and on the streets, he vouches for the fencing operation. But will his fellow car thieves take the bait?
They got a Mercedes already? When they gonna?
Apparently so. They find out there are crooks ready to do business, and it's showtime.
You got 8 people on surveillance
The team of cops gathers in a nearby parking lot to review plans. Tonight, they'll be meeting with the thieves, and the undercover informant will be with them.
We're expecting 3 crooks tonight to come with 1 spy.
The undercover cop playing the role of ringleader calls the informant to finalize details.
Hey, dude. Yeah, we're ready. ETA is about 20 minutes, so get in place.
The lieutenant and 7 of his men fan out in the neighborhood around the warehouse. Another team sets up in the surveillance room, armed and ready to move in if there's trouble. In fact, everything is in place, except for the car thieves. They're an hour and a half late.
Never show up exactly when they said they're gonna show up.
There's a Dodge truck.
Then, suddenly, here they come. And the meeting is on.
Here's the car right there.
Police are surprised when several cars arrive, and 7 suspects and the informant pile out. They were expecting 3. If something goes wrong, the cops inside are outnumbered.
Appears to be a total of 7 individuals inside the warehouse that are not our guys.
Okay, it's a few more than we expected.
The thieves with the stolen cars seem guarded, wary, and the cops say pulses are racing.
The tension in there the very first night was horrible. Probably sliced it with a knife. Everybody's watching everybody. They look like a bunch of thugs.
The undercover cops posing as fences break that tension by getting down to business. They start negotiating.
Who's the Honda? Yours? How much you want?
The thieves want to unload 2 vehicles.
Come on here, let's take care of business.
The fence pays the men $400 for the Honda and $400 for the truck.
4.
It's a nerve-wracking start. The undercover cops inside were outnumbered, and they didn't know if the thieves would buy their cover story.
They're getting ready to come out. They're coming out.
But they did. The cops seem to have passed the test.
Open the gate now.
The first meeting is over.
Stand by, stand by.
Who seems most dangerous to you as you're meeting them?
They all look so suspicious. They could do anything.
Do you get nervous?
Well, sure. Everybody gets nervous, especially in a situation like that. But, you know, we try to employ our skills. We're trained. Most of the time, everything goes well.
Total 7 outside.
Still, they say they're feeling confident they're on their way to gaining the thieves' trust.
Right, they're fixing to roll.
And they expect business to pick up.
I figured these guys are going to get back to their hoods. They're going to tell some of their boys, and the word's going to get out.
Network it around, spread the word. That's what happens.
Making a turn to the warehouse.
And they're right. Within days, it becomes clear there's plenty of interest on the street. Remember Big George? He shows up with 3 stolen cars for sale.
Today's payday, Otto.
Sometimes, though, the negotiations get testy.
Okay, they're here. Be advised.
On another night, these men bring in a late model car and want $1,000 more than the fence is willing to pay. One of the thieves seems agitated.
Can you give us at least a G?
That's 7.
Sensing trouble, other undercover cops file into the office to provide backup in case things get violent. The fence pretends to be annoyed, role-playing so he doesn't appear too eager and arouse suspicion.
How much I give you? Just 8? Did I just give you 8? Man, that's all I can give you all.
Hey, can you give us like another 100?
I just gave you another 100.
The thieves leave the room to confer, then come back and reluctantly agree to the sale.
Okay, keep a close eye on them. They're not happy with the money that they got.
But not every night is so difficult. Here, a lighter mood prevails when this man, who calls himself White Boy, brags about how easy it was to steal the expensive car he brought in.
Hey, look like they got dealership keys over here.
It seems White Boy's day job has benefits. He installs electronic equipment, and that gives him easy access to car keys of unsuspecting homeowners.
Where'd you get these keys?
Outside the house.
Really? Were you in there putting a TV in there too?
I do AC work, I do custom installation for plasmas.
What year model is it?
2006.
6?
Infiniti QX.
He justifies stealing the $60,000 car by saying the owners owe him money.
Yeah, you know, f*** my money or my family and everything's straight, I'm gonna tell you.
He's getting it back for sure, man. That's an expensive car there.
But the cops are looking for more than cars. They're constantly probing to find out what else the suspects are into, like guns.
You don't know where you get some AKs?
This man says he has a connection who can supply automatic weapons, AK-47s.
Straight out the box, man. Straight out the box.
We'll buy them right out of the box as long as it's fully auto.
Man, I'm glad you said that, man. Straight out the box. Straight out the box. I can make a phone call right now.
Call them. We'll wait on them.
He says he's ready to set up another line of business selling guns. And so is that thief named Greñas, who suddenly whips out a semi-automatic. He's a regular at the warehouse, this time offering guns for sale, showing off a sample of what he can deliver. This man sells an ounce of cocaine to the undercover cops and says he can deliver kilos of cocaine.
How you want? The good stuff or the step-on? It's gonna be good, but which one you want?
We want the good.
The stakes have just been raised. Now things are going to get even more intense. Cars, drugs, and guns, a dangerous equation. And to get closer, to help build a case, the cops are going to have to leave the security of the warehouse with its monitoring equipment and extensive police backup, going further inside the gang life. And if that's not risky enough, the scenario becomes even more dangerous when the undercover cops learn they themselves could be the target of an ambush.
Up next, the officers and suspects may all party together, but what happens when the party's over?
They were all going to pull pistols and rob us all because they were under the impression that we had a lot of money.
A band of undercover cops has set out to infiltrate a ring of car thieves, but now the suspects have raised the stakes. They're bringing in drugs and guns to sell as well. An already risky undercover operation just got a whole lot more dangerous. Here again, Victoria Corderi.
The undercover cops from the Houston Police Department are now immersed in gang life. And the stolen car sting is now netting more dangerous contraband, guns, and drugs. And to get a line into those worlds, they need to penetrate more deeply.
They sleep all day. Then they smoke pot and do cocaine and do whatever they do all night long.
And you have to be on their timetable.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's long hours.
And not knowing what the outcome is going to be.
Correct.
Right.
Walk into that crook right here on the left.
They decide to spend time with the suspects on their turf, at their favorite hangout. That's when the action moved to the bar, hotties, pounding music videos, writhing women. And for the undercover cops, the opportunity to make more deals and get more intel on the suspects and other prospects.
We get to meet some guys that haven't been to the warehouse who are sometimes there.
The network
to want to talk about business.
The undercover cops are playing host, buying bucket after bucket of beer. That's when the talk turns to drugs. This suspect says he can supply ecstasy. Another suspect sells the cops cocaine and claims he has a lot more where that came from. They take the conversation outside. The undercover cop says he's not sure the cocaine deal is worth it. And the suspect reassures him.
Oh, man, you ain't gotta worry about that. Who I get it from, straight Colombian guy.
And he says the drug dealer also sells guns.
He's the one who has connections on the guns. Like the AK he had, but he was going to get like a Russian machine gun.
As if stolen cars, guns, and drug deals weren't enough, the undercover cops soon find out they may have something else to handle. They themselves may have become targets of a robbery at the warehouse. It's not that the undercover cops have been discovered. It's because one of the suspects thinks the fencing operation has a lot of cash and is worth hitting.
They were all going to pull pistols and rob us all because they were under the impression that we had a lot of money.
They're coming your direction, Keith.
At the next warehouse meeting, the cops are concerned this may be the day they get robbed. When the thieves arrive, the suspects back their cars into the garage, something they've never done before. It's as though they're planning a quick getaway.
Yeah, it's interesting how you back that thing in there like you can get out of there quick.
The surveillance team makes plans to converge on the warehouse if violence erupts.
What's the best way to go in if we have to? Go to the front door and to the side.
But luckily, the showdown never comes. The suspects simply make the deal and leave. Later, the cops learn the robbery plans have been called off. Other suspects told them that this admitted carjacker came up with the idea, but ironically, another thief named Greñas stopped him.
Greñas told me that he had talked him out of it and told him, hey, you're crazy. Why do you want to do that? This guy is here. We can use him. We can bring whatever we need to sell to him. He's always going to buy it from us.
Basically, Greñas saved your operation.
Yes, he did.
Greñas is the guy in the white t-shirt.
And why shouldn't he? The thief, Greñas, is making good money, constantly calling the cops with stolen cars for sale. In fact, he's relentless. At one point, police see him allegedly supervising the sale of 3 stolen cars in a parking lot, with his newborn and toddler in tow. In the meantime, police are collecting information about all of the suspects, anything that will help to identify them, like tattoos.
What's that tat on this? Africa. Oh, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just decided to get something. Let it mean something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's 3 cars ahead of us.
Outside, surveillance teams track licenses and addresses, tailing the suspects whenever they can.
He's in the number 1 lane, still headed 59 southbound. He's clipping along, he's right about 80.
They trade off cars every so often to avoid detection.
I'm going to go ahead and get a pass right ahead of him. Somebody else will pick him up.
During the day, police continue surveillance on the suspects' homes.
Right there. The truck is.
This one belongs to Greñas, the one who keeps popping up at the warehouse. Police think his next deal is parked in the driveway.
4-door silver Dodge truck is there.
The next day, they continue to track the truck.
There he is. He's coming out.
Greñas, the thief, drives it to a nearby parking lot.
That's him. White shirt, black pants.
Police wait until he gets out of the truck to make a phone call.
Okay, he's going to the payphone. Okay, is he still on the phone? Okay. I'm going to run up to the truck real quick.
The officer reaches the truck, checks its identification numbers, and walks away before the suspect returns. Later that night, Greñas arrives at the warehouse with the stolen truck. He brags he does more than just steal cars. He's a tough guy, too. That's his world: crime, guns, and gangs. In fact, most of the suspects have lengthy records, but there are some surprises.
Did you get that thing? That's too big of a truck for you.
No, I love trucks.
16-year-old Jackie says she just graduated from high school and plans to go to college. Police say she was sent in by one of the thieves to fence a stolen truck.
What are you supposed to get for it? What do you think it's worth?
2,000.
We can give you 800 for it.
1,000.
It's a Dodge. We got 2 of these Dodges.
Yeah, but how many do you get from a hot girl?
Then she promises even more stolen merchandise.
See, if you give me 1,000, I can bring in a Mercedes tomorrow.
How you gonna do that?
Because my friend has one.
She does return with an older friend, but not with a Mercedes. Instead, with a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Is that your boyfriend's car?
Yeah.
He told you to bring it?
Yeah. He just gave me the car or whatever. So.
To bring it down here or just to have it?
No, he just told me I can have it and I didn't want it.
Okay, they're walking out. Get back in the vehicle.
Police say they later learned she's lying. Her boyfriend allegedly carjacked the vehicle and beat up the owner. And her boyfriend isn't the only carjacker flushed out by the sting. This criminal brags about how he has the keys to stolen cars.
You got the key to that one, key to that one. How you get the keys, man?
He shows them how. With this, police immediately try to buy the gun to get it out of his hands and off the street.
Hey, man, let me buy that off of you, dude.
They negotiate a little bit, but the thief hesitates. Later, the police try again.
Hey, man, let me look at that piece of shit one more time. Man, unload it. Yeah, I'm gonna load it, yeah. How come I can't buy this off of you, man? How much did you pay for it?
I paid $250 for the house.
The carjacker finally agrees to sell the gun along with the cars.
Let's settle up. How much you want for them cars together? $2,000 for them, both them cars? Man, you get hard.
You know what, man? I got the keys, I got low mileage. I'm giving you what you need.
He makes a tidy profit, but the cops score too. The gun they buy can be used as evidence instead of as a weapon in another carjacking.
Once we found out he was actually robbing people at gunpoint, we couldn't continue to allow him to run the streets and continue robbing people and taking their cars and bringing them over to us and selling them.
They bought a gun and sold it.
Still, they say it's only a matter of time before he gets another weapon. They want to stop him before he strikes again.
Stand by.
They have to decide when to start arresting the sting suspects. How long can they let these criminals roam the streets?
He's in the number 1 lane, still headed 59 southbound.
They decide it's time to cut them off before someone gets hurt or killed.
That's clear. I'm going to go to the next exit and circle around.
Okay, they're passing now. They're passing me now.
Coming up, a bust is planned at the strip club, but it might be the undercover officers and Dateline who get busted when this security guard gets a little too close to our hidden camera.
After a series of carjackings at gunpoint, undercover officers running a car theft sting have decided it's high time to get the thieves off the streets. With our hidden cameras rolling, they're about to start making arrests, which means revealing their identities. In other words, they're entering a whole new danger zone. Again, Victoria Corderi.
For months, the undercover operation has been successful. The cops have bought 33 stolen cars at the warehouse from 24 suspects. It's quite a haul, but could it be the sting is causing more crimes than usual? The police say no. Lieutenant Victor Rodriguez.
We're catching criminals and not creating criminals. We're dealing with people that are have criminal histories of stealing cars, robbing people, the whole gamut.
That this is what they're doing anyway?
Exactly.
During the sting, one of the thieves swiped this man's car.
I came back outside and the car was gone.
Carjacked this man's Mustang.
I was more or less just take my car and go.
And shot this man when he fought back.
Querían la cartera, querían el anillo.
They wanted your wallet, your ring.
3.
Violent carjackers like this guy with the gun cannot remain on the street, police say. So even if it jeopardizes the sting, they decide to make a move. They arrest him as he's driving a stolen car he intends to sell. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. And they arrest another admitted carjacker, too.
You just felt you had to.
Right. Right.
You know, so 2 of the carjackers are in jail. So how do you know that they're not piecing things together for the other guys who are still out on the street?
We don't know.
So they could be exposing you.
They could. But there's nothing we can do about that.
So even though they've begun making arrests,
Walking across the street now.
the police still have to keep the sting going, hoping that the jailed carjackers won't catch on. It's a new, higher level of risk for the undercover officers.
Okay, guys, I got all the players here.
During that time, they decide they have to arrest Greñas, too. You remember him, the most frequent warehouse visitor. They want to stop him before he hurts someone. Little does Greñas know while he's selling the stolen truck,
Guy in the white shirt's getting in the driver's seat.
Greñas is the driver.
police are waiting to arrest him after he leaves on a charge unrelated to the sting. He got 10 years in prison.
At what point do you say enough is enough? It's time to pull the plug on this.
When we feel like we've got about as much as we're going to be able to get.
And after 5 months working the sting, the cops have dozens of stolen cars, cocaine, mountains of incriminating videotape, and a few preliminary arrests out of the way. Now they decide it's time for the big roundup.
Bought quite a few cars. We got quite a few crooks to arrest tonight, and I want everybody to be real safe.
In order not to expose the cops involved in the fencing operation, yet still get these suspects off the street, the police create a sting within a sting. Here's how it'll work. Undercover cops again invite the warehouse suspects to that club where they like to hang out and party. It turns out the club Hotties has been suspected of prostitution, so a separate unit of Vice Squad cops will raid the place and arrest them and everyone else in a dragnet. The thieves will never guess these arrests have anything to do with the cars they stole.
Sort of a surprise party.
A surprise party, right. That would give us an extra day to be able to go out and catch those stragglers that didn't make it to the club. Best case scenario, all these crooks come in, they stay in the club, we're ready to go, we pop them and
There to pop them is an army of about 60 police, either inside the club or in the neighborhood, ready for anything.
We have sealed indictments on all these folks. Are there any questions?
Dateline is along for the ride with hidden cameras. posing as friends of the undercover cops. As we enter the club, a newly hired security guard searches our producer's purse, which is full of hidden camera gear. It's a tense moment.
You want to zip this other side for me?
The cops stand by anxiously, but the cameras go undiscovered. We sit near the dance floor and wait.
It's right straight across the parking lot.
Meanwhile, surveillance teams set up outside the club.
I can hear some females talking.
That's our wiring. Ruben's wearing it. He may be talking to the girl.
But there's a hitch. Something's wrong. The sting within a sting isn't working. There's no steady stream of gangbangers arriving to party.
Boy said there's not very many people in there.
Yeah, he said 15.
That's not good.
One man did show up at the club with a stolen truck to sell, but the undercover cops send him away because he's not one of the suspects. What he doesn't know is while he was inside, police outside put a spike under the tire of the stolen truck.
Maybe he'll pull over.
Watching the thief drive off on a leaking tire provides a moment of comic relief.
Hey, something just went past me eastbound to the parking lot. Sounded like they had a flat tire.
But it's no laughing matter when police see the thief stop at a gas station. The perfect time to take him down.
Just pulled into the shell there.
Let's bust them at the shell, guys.
You got any weapons on you?
Despite that, this highly orchestrated bust is, well, a bust. The cops waited 3 hours for the suspects.
What was going through your mind during those hours that the door would open and no one was coming?
Well, I couldn't figure out what had gone wrong.
Not one warehouse suspect showed.
We didn't know how, but these people somehow had been alerted.
Are you thinking that 3 months of my life spent on this, living this life, and this is all going south?
Yes.
There's confusion as the police meet up in the parking lot. What happened? Did the main informant betray the operation to save his hide? Did the word get out? The undercover cops are about to find out.
Just ahead, officers now have no choice but to track down suspects street by street, house by house, hoping they can round everyone up before the suspects catch on and take off.
You tell patrol he's walking outside right now.
The plan to nab the car thieves at the club was a bust. So now the undercover officers are about to fan out across town to find the suspects one by one. But time is running out. Police have to finish their roundup before their cover is blown. Here again, Victoria Corderi.
On the southeast side, you can't miss them.
The police are now working against the clock. The 5-month-long sting may have been a success, but the arrest plan was a failure. Not one suspect showed up at the local bar where they were supposed to be arrested.
We had it all lined up, and after we'd probably thought we'd invited 15 good crooks to the party, virtually none of them show, so I thought we were burned, and I was pretty upset about it. We ain't got a crook one yet in the club.
Were the suspects tipped off? The cops need a backup plan, and fast. So they decide to make the busts the hard way, one by one.
We had no time to lose, and we had to make some quick decisions as to what we were going to do, and we had to act on them.
The next morning, the police decide to fan out across the area.
Okay, we're coming that way.
Track the suspects down and start making arrests. Right away, they get lucky. A suspect calls the undercover cop to sell him a stolen car. The cop offers to give him a ride, right into a trap. 2 patrolmen are told to pull them over and tell the suspect there is a warrant for his arrest. He's purposefully vague, so the thief doesn't know it has anything to do with the warehouse deal.
Secure your radio. We got a bunch of other suspects we want to knock down, and we don't want him knowing about it.
The patrolman knows the undercover cop is still in character, so he frisks him and the real thief. It works, and the arrest goes smoothly.
Y'all did a great job. We've got a roll. We got some more guys to look for.
They are looking for more than 20 suspects. Some of them are lounging at home when the police arrive.
Back up a little bit. See if he's gonna run.
They stake him out while waiting for backup.
What? Come here, we want to talk to you.
Then they take him in. It's his 14th arrest.
Thanks, guys.
As the day wears on, the police are pleased with the tally.
I'm doing a report.
One by one, the thieves are picked up. They are told for a variety of crimes. None of them yet know it's because they sold stolen cars at the warehouse.
Big boy is in the car. He is in the car.
All right, patrol, go ahead and ease over this way. That vehicle.
Next, they spot another suspect at a gas station and arrest him.
He's walking outside. He's walking outside right now.
Wendy, tell patrol he's walking outside right now.
Another suspect is leaving on a bicycle when police approach.
That's him.
He is right in front by the... There we go. He got him. He got him.
In all, 18 suspects are now in custody. It turns out the cops' fears about their own informant having turned on them were unfounded. He called them to explain why nobody showed up at the party the night before.
They have become very suspicious. They thought they were being watched and paranoid, and basically retreated from coming to the party.
But they didn't connect that with you.
No, and even at that point, I don't believe they did. They just knew there was heat out there.
Finally, the suspects are in custody. And now, the moment of truth, because time has come to let them in on the real reason they were all arrested, and let them know Dateline has been taping the entire thing.
Coming up, suspects are about to see what we've been seeing, and they aren't going to like it.
What do you think when you look at this?
Houston police have rounded up all the suspects in the car sting, and now the arrested men are about to get another surprise. They haven't just been caught, they've been caught on tape by our hidden cameras. Victoria Corderi now with the conclusion of our story.
More than 20 men now face charges ranging from auto theft to drug dealing to engaging in organized crime. Any confusion they may have had about how the cops knew what they'd been up to was about to be cleared up.
Come here, I want to talk to you.
One by one, they meet with the police, who let them in on a secret. The fencing operation actually was a police sting, and every transaction in the warehouse was caught on tape.
We want to show you some videotape for inclusion in our story. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Some of them agreed to watch our videotape from the warehouse, watch themselves selling stolen property. What did they have to say?
I haven't physically stole anything. I only looked out.
So you were a lookout?
That's it.
But you're here accepting money for the car, right?
But that money wasn't even for me.
Like, what do you think when you look at this?
I feel like a loser now. I'm watching myself.
He later pleaded guilty to an organized crime charge. This man said he was just a driver.
I mean, I don't steal the cars. They just sent me to drive them.
Organized crime charges against him are still pending. And remember Big George?
What was your role in the operation?
One-time thing. They told me it was quick. I didn't even steal no car, nothing. I just drove 25 feet.
You know, everyone I talk to says they were just driving. It reminds me of when I go to jail and everyone says they're innocent.
Yes, ma'am.
So, is that true?
No, but not me. I mean, I don't even know how to steal a car, you know, honest to God.
He says the cops have it all wrong. Remember when he said he could deliver special guns?
You can take it to the metal detector and it won't go through, it won't beep.
Now he says that was all talk.
Now you're talking about that you can get ceramic pistols. What about that?
I'll just bullshit the guy, see if he'll buy into it.
Here, you're making it like you're a big player in this video.
I was trying to make the dude that was giving me the money think, you know, that I had, that we can get more.
Big George also pleaded guilty to organized crime charges. One of the men who said he could find a machine gun.
I know for sure. I just need to know how much he'll let it go for.
Now says,
I was just talking sideways.
But he did plead guilty to aggravated theft. Only one of the men we spoke with made no excuses. White boy.
The opportunity was there. I took it. And that's that. Well, then I'm going to serve lots of time then for my mistake. And that's all I can do. I know I obviously made a mistake. I do realize that.
White boy says it's a matter of money. He has none, and his victims seem to have plenty.
Wealthy people having plenty of money know it's cars. I know they got, full coverage insurance. It's just going to be replaced later on.
So what's the harm?
Yeah.
White Boy also pleaded guilty to organized crime charges. In fact, nearly all of the cases resulted in convictions. And what about the informant who helped take his fellow thieves off the street? Remember, he said he'd wanted to cooperate so he could make money and escape the gang life. He made $18,000 for his role in the sting. Has he been able to start a new life?
He spent those $18,000. It's gone.
Gone.
Up his nose, drinking it, running with his buddies.
And he got in trouble again.
And since then, he's been arrested twice.
So that made it clear to you that what?
That he's not willing to change and get out of that lifestyle.
In fact, when we spoke with the informant, he said he was preparing for the worst if and when people find out he was the snitch.
Have you been in fear since the sting? Have you been scared?
Well, there's a lot of guns pointed at me, yeah. But payback's a bitch.
Payback's a bitch?
Yeah.
Because you think you're in for payback?
I'm not in for payback, I'm just ready for it.
Police say the informant is now in jail on drug charges.
I'm trying to get down there now.
And the undercover cops? They're already working new cases. What they leave behind are some very grateful people.
It's in perfect condition. The baby seat's in the back.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
33 to be exact, victims of auto thefts and carjackings, who got back vehicles they never expected to see again. So the warehouse operation is out of business for now. And across town, several dancers at the Girly Bar were convicted of vice-related charges. And now the club also is missing a crew of regulars, men who had no idea that this night of fun just a few months before was really a goodbye party.
For tips on how to keep your car safe and a list of which cars are most and least likely to be targeted by thieves, log on to our website. The address is dateline.msnbc.com. That's all for now. I'm Ann Curry.
And I'm Stone Phillips. For all of us at NBC News, thanks for watching.